You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, we're going to talk about what looks like a potential favorite to land the Cleveland Browns head coaching job. And I got to tell you, I wasn't real familiar with this guy, Grant Udinski. And right now, he's the Jaguars offensive coordinator. Prior to that, assistant quarterbacks coach, assistant to the head coach, Kevin O'Connell, when he was with the Minnesota Vikings. Now, I do believe that's a big deal. The assistant to the head coach. I think that's an interesting addendum onto this. Now, Grant's like 30 years old, which, as you can imagine, raises a lot of eyebrows. I'm not going to lie to you. I love a good old CEO type. A Mike Vrabel, a Belichick, a John Harbaugh. I like those. Mike McCarthy. I've said, if the Titans look like they're starting to move in on Mike McCarthy now. Sean Payton, I love those kind of guys. Those surly old guys. Football coaches. But there is a video that Peter Schrager has put out now, and a lot of fans don't know who the hell this guy is, right? And I have to admit, after watching the video, I'm like, wow, okay, this guy's cut a little different when it comes to the offensive side of the ball. Now, yesterday, the clouds parted and the sunlight shined down on Shedeur Sanders. Well, Rhodes, how did that happen? Well, it happened because Dante Moore's not coming out in the National Football League draft. And, you know, there were rumors that the Browns might have tried to move up to have gotten Dante Moore. Now, Ty Simpson's going to be out there. Carson Beck, I think, is going to get drafted higher than people think. Do I think he's going in the first round? No. Do I think he's going to say probably not? Fourth round, third round, maybe. Like, I got to tell you, as far as Browns QB goes, I had to take a Carson Beck in the third round long before Dylan Gabriel. But this guy that's on the screen is one of the guys responsible for Trevor Lawrence throwing 29 touchdowns this year, 4,000 yards, and rushing for, let me just scroll down, 359 yards and 9 touchdowns. So he was responsible for a whole lot of scoring. With Trevor Lawrence, somebody that many of us, including myself, thought was a borderline bust. In the National Football League, we just witnessed Jacksonville give the Buffalo Bills all they could handle. The Jags aren't going anywhere, folks. And yesterday, I was listening to Tony Grossi on the Daily Grossi, and he brought up Grant Udinski. He believes is a 50%. He put a 50% chance of Grant Udinski being the next head football coach of the Cleveland Browns. A kid that is 30 years old. Now, Sean McVay, I believe, was 29 when he got the job for the Rams. But this video of Udinski talking about offense is starting to go viral from Peter Schrager. By the way, a few little rumors out there that maybe the Steelers are sniffing around this cat too. Let's listen.
There are a lot of different examples that show his feel. I think the first one that shows up is kind of his feel in space. Or you see some of these teams playing zone coverage where they have defenders who have vision on the quarterback and they have different spots to get to and different landmarks, or they're reading off of what our routes are to kind of, determine what their drop's going to be. He has a feel for where those defenders are going, where they're trying to get to, and then where his route fits off of that. And that kind of takes a second and third level order of processing, not just to know, we tell you to get to this spot, but this spot is going to open up. Because we're telling you to get to a spot that looks covered. But if you have a great understanding of what the defense is doing or what the defense is trying to do, then you can run your route in a certain way to try to get to that spot on the field or to try to dictate the coverage to play a certain way. All right, now I run a route this way and I lean out a bit, gets that defender to move out, and now I opened up my window inside. Little things like that that are really subtle show up with him when he's running routes. Then you see it in the run game too with my understanding of angles on the block. You see a lot of plays that he's making, getting down, blocking safeties, blocking corners. I mean, he's blocking linebackers on some plays. And you really can only do that when there's a physical mismatch at time. If you have great technique, great angles, you have a great understanding of where the run is going to go, where the blocks inside are going, because how those blocks distribute will change how the safety or the linebacker is going to trigger on the run, right? Because they're keen. He knows, okay, the safety is keen, the tight end, or the safety is keen, the tackle. The tackle does this. This is the safety's response going to be. And because he's responding like that, I have to take this angle. That's a really high level, series of thought to be able to go out there and play fast and execute that type of block for just a simple run play. But to be able to process all of that so fast does require really a special feel for understanding the game of football and just a feel for space out there.
Wow. And look, are there a lot of guys that obviously know the same things this guy's talking about? Sure. But do they have the ability to actually talk about it and articulate it and convey it to other people? Not only that, but you listen to this guy and you're like, he's 30 and not like 47? I was shocked because I didn't know a whole lot about this guy. And so I really started just in the last day kind of digging in because I knew Udinski was going to be somebody I was going to end up having to really talk about at some point. And then this video, which is, like I said, it is going viral now, of him talking about offensive angles and players and how they have to adjust the defenses of this, that, and the other. I was like, wow, okay. I mean, I can kind of see why Cleveland is interested in this guy, but I do have to wonder because of the history of, the Browns. Are you going to be able to land this guy, or is the Steelers going to steal this guy away from you? I listen to this, I see this, and think to myself, what is this guy's interview going to be like? Because if he interviews, every team he interviews with is going to consider this guy, in my opinion. Because he's going to get up in front of a room and he's going to own that son of a bitch. No doubt about it. He's going to have a vision. He's going to have a game plan. He's going to own it. Now, one could argue Kevin Stefanski probably was the same way. Okay, well, yeah, they ended up firing him, but he was also two-time coach of the year. And had to actually made the playoffs twice for the Browns. So this is interesting. Like if I heard his name, Albert Breer brought up Udinski's name connected to the Cardinals probably like 6 weeks ago. And I was like, huh. And he was like, just don't sleep on this guy out of Jacksonville. Because some people think a lot of him. He's going to get some looks, they think. And now that this video's out there, the cat's out of the bag. If you're ownership somewhere of one of these franchises, you see this video, you're going to say, let's bring this guy in for an interview. Whether or not you're going to give him the job is another story. So now it's like, if you're a Browns fan, I would be excited to see if this kind of cat, who again, look, you can watch Hard Knocks and realize Mike Kafka is not ready to be a head coach. It came across very quickly in the meetings they were showing on. You were like, nope. Mike Kafka is not. He needs to be talking to his offense, probably like a quarterback room or a specific position. And could Kafka end up being a head coach at some point down the road? Sure. But Kafka's a lot older than this guy, and I got to be honest, this guy comes across as a more head coach, CEO kind of guy than say a Kafka does. Wow. I got to tell you, I'm impressed by that. Now, you could hire him and you might win 5 games in 3 years, and he could be a total disaster. Or is he the next Sean McVay, Liam Cohen? Is this the next guy? And somehow the Browns actually maybe on the ground floor, the ground level of finding this guy? I don't know. Again, the Steelers are sniffing around now. Tell me what you think. I guarantee you people in the NFL are going to call Peter Schrager, who put this video up, and this guy's going to get more attention. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.